السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا في الأولين وفي الآخرين ومن اتبع سنته إلى يوم الدين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. آمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Today we are on the 5th ayah of Surat El Fatiha. Inshallah, we will see how everything is connected, and we'll start off with a little bit of a review for all of us and see, inshallah, what Allah reveals today. So this world is a journey of getting to know our Lord through veils of creation. The purpose of creation, everything that exists within us and without everything that we see, is to use creation in order to introduce us to the Creator. If we discover the names of God, the qualities manifested here, then we secure our existence with an eternal one. And this security, as we all know and may have heard, is what it means to have Iman, is to secure that relationship. If we meet his names here, then we will be prepared for the final meeting, the day of truth, the day where the veils are lifted and the truth of everything is. Last week we talked about Malik Yawmiddin, which is a great reminder that everyone is mas'ul, responsible for how we use creation and how we use ourselves, how we perceive everything as happening. Do we perceive Bismillah, or do we perceive things at face value just for how they appear? When I'm truly aware of the transience as my reality, that everything is unstable, everything is changing, then I know they cannot be sustainers or many sources. Rather, everything is made and dependent on God to exist in every second. But if you can't hear, inshallah, please do share, and I'll change it up, inshallah. Let me know in the chat. Jazakallah. Ziba. So, Dr. Yamina, may Allah be pleased with her, who shares all of this on Receiving Noor's YouTube channel, shared that this world is only to get ready for our real life. The rahmah that we talked about in ayahs 1 and 3, that my educator is constantly bringing my attention to, can only be and remain when there's no eternal life. Then death means eternal separation, and anything that was beautiful before turns into pain, which is why Maliki Yawmiddin is so important. The connection is lagging, huh? Okay. I will change then for now. I have a feeling that might happen. Okay. Excuse me while I walk to a better space until I have to move again, inshallah. So last week we talked about the ayah 5, Malik Yawmuddin, which is king or sovereign owner of Yawmuddin, the day of truth, the day of resurrection, the day of recompense. And so if he is always Malik, always king, always sovereign, always the owner, then why is specifically Yawmuddin mentioned? It's the day where reality is revealed without veils, as glorifying everything glorifies its maker on that day. So if ever I claimed that this person was the one doing something for me, or the daughter does something for me, or this food is what does something for me, or this friend, or these, everything will show up clearly on that day and say we had no power, no authority to do anything. So Malik Yawmuddin reminds us, it's a beautiful reminder, to lift the veil of whatever situation that we're in and really explore the meaning. The meaning points to the names of God and meet Him. So may Allah accept our Ramadan. And I like that Dr. Yamina always brings several verses together as we discuss the Quran. Remember, this chapter is the summary of the whole Quran, so it's a great way to kind of see how everything is connected with other chapters and other verses. So in Surah 6, Ayah 31, the ayah says, I'll read in Arabic and English, inshallah. قَدْ خَسِرَ الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِلِقَاءِ اللَّهِ حتى إذا جاءتهم الساعة بغتة قالوا يا حسرتنا على ما فرطنا فيها وهم يحملون أوزارهم على ظهورهم. ألا ساء ما يزرون. Those who consider it a lie. So let me just try to translate it on my own because the translations sometimes are really poor. But indeed, lost is the person who covered up the meeting God until the hour came all of a sudden. And then their response will be, how negligent have we been? And they'll be carrying burdens, the burdens of their shortcomings, their sin on their back. So it's beautiful that sin is mentioned here, and then covering up this meeting is mentioned here. So this world is in the Quran called la'ibun wa lahu, like a play and a distraction, a delusion. Why is the creator that made it that like that telling me this? Because we have a chance now, we have free will to either let it be a distraction where you only see everything out there at face value and you get so caught up in everything happening, you get lost in the news and lost in the new situation and lost in our new feelings and lost in the new chaos and new seeming chaos and events. So we can either get lost or use everything to see wajh Allah, which is the countenance of God or the face of God. So inshallah, we pray that through this reminder, we make an intention to get to know our Rabb through constant questioning of everything happening and being reminded of the real owner who's doing everything, like we said, out of love. And instead of focusing on the face value, especially like the news nowadays, if you guys are, I'm sure, all aware, really rouses some very intense emotion in every human being. So when we see injustice, corruption, we see wrongdoing, oppression, racism, and hate, it's very easy to react and say, I don't like that. How could they do that? And again, immediately we fall into seeing the I and the they and the he. Instead, Bismillah means, in the name of God, means I recognize that this feeling that was put inside of me is all of a sudden getting alarmed. Somebody's like ringing the bell. Okay, so I find myself being really shaken or called to a new feeling which demands justice and demands truth and demands fairness and demands love and equality. And so I can either use that in my name and get angry, or I can acknowledge the infinite creator of those feelings, the source of justice, the source of truth, and know that it's his promise of Yawm-ud-Din. So whoever doesn't see justice in this world will surely see it in the next. And that is a promise that brings much peace, because this world is a flash. It ends so fast. Like we said, like last week, it's like an hour. Some people say, oh, what is it, half an hour? Once you cross over to the side, it's like, how long have I been here? Hour, half an hour? It's nothing to trip about. It's nothing to lose our grounding about. Also, a lot of times we don't understand why it is the stuff that's happening. Remember, we talked about that too. Like, it's very hard to understand. We don't have infinite wisdom of the whole universe and all of this. So what does it make you do? It makes you remember, okay, I have a need to understand. I have a need to know. I have a need for wisdom. So it makes you just humbly prostrate and say, I don't know why all of this is happening. I don't know why this is all being created, but I know the one creating it, the one that created us with free will to either do right or commit injustice. We see that there's a lot of solidarity that is breeding now through the injustice, which is just one aspect that points to that rahmah, that love of what seems like chaos. It's interesting how all of this injustice is actually showing face of this beautiful new holding hands in solidarity, which maybe people wouldn't have done prior, right? So that's just a kind of practical way to link in the first couple of ayat, 1 through 5, that we've discussed so far. In Surat Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, Cow, ayah 115, 115, it says, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا فَتَمَّ وَجْهَ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. The east and the west belong to God. So whichever direction you turn will be the face of God. That's beautiful, beautifully captures what we just said. And then how does the creator end this verse? Indeed, it is God who is wasi'un alim, all embracing in his knowledge, all knowing and all embracing in that knowledge. So yeah, we don't know and we can't know, and we might not ever know the true wisdom of everything, but that's not the purpose, right? The purpose is not for us to rise up to the level of God. It's to be reminded of who we really are. With that being said, it goes beautiful into our next ayah, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. So before we go into that, a lot of people say, okay, the day of resurrection, this day of judgment, you know, it's either the judgment is going to be either your new home is either going to be paradise or hellfire. And I think an important, beautiful concept that was often emphasized by both Dr. Ali and Dr. Yamina is that hellfire is the result of your choice disconnecting yourself from the most merciful. And paradise is just a gift of his mercy from you connecting to that mercy. In Surat Al Fajr, I can't remember exactly what surah that is, but you guys have, those who are familiar with the Quran have probably heard of these ayat. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. So, O you reassured soul, return to your Rabb. We talked about that word in length. Well pleased and pleasing to him. فادخلي في عبادي. وَادْخُلِي جَنَّتِي. So enter into the state of being abd, enter among my abd. Somebody just said that there's no sound. Do you guys hear me okay? Okay, alhamdulillah. So enter into the state of being abd. So we're going to talk about what this means, the state of abd, because it's the next ayah. وَادْخُلِي جَنَّتِي, and enter my paradise. So what we learn from this is that there's something about a soul being reassured. This is speaking to us here and now. Are you feeling reassured, or are you feeling kind of afraid? Are you feeling doubtful, or are you feeling reassured? You see, the soul is constantly fluctuating and constantly feeling a lot of different things. So the Quran is giving us guidance to kind of pull us slowly but surely to a more constant state. What is that constant state? The Quran has many words for it, right? Once you're in a state of consciousness of the real doer, then you have this state of being pleased. Pleased that there is a one who has everything under control, who is doing things out of love, who encompasses everything in knowledge and wisdom. And once we realize that we're constantly needy, abd, this is where we are going. The next ayah is 1:5. Once we realize that we are abd and we are needy, it means that we're dependent, we're constantly in need of something new, and we're connected in that state, then we feel paradise. So in this world, paradise is a state of being. A lot of people teach like paradise and hellfire are these like once upon a time things, or in these future things exclusively. And although that is not incorrect, we're being spoken to here and now by whoever created this world that appears like chaos, so that we can taste both that fire within when we're disconnected and that paradise within when we surrender our needs to our owner. So 972, chapter 9, Tawbah, repentance, verse 72 says, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Oh man, this is not a good, let me make it bigger. Can't read it. The Arabic is beautiful, and then inshallah also share the English, because these verses all are saying the same beautiful message, and God bless Sister Yamina for sharing. وعد الله المؤمنين والمؤمنات جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ومساكن طيبة في جنة عدن ورضوان من الله أكبر ذلك هو الفوز العظيم. Allah has promised the believing men and believing women gardens beneath which rivers flow. They shall abide in it. There are delightful dwelling places for them in the gardens of eternity. And the pleasure of God is greater. And that is the great achievement. So this concept of the pleasure of God is important because the other verse that we just talked about mentioned it. Because whenever I am pleased with my Lord is pleased with me. In fact, when I'm pleased with God, that being pleased feeling that's placed inside of me is a call of the one actually pleased with me through that feeling. So pleasure, or ridwan, I can be a channel of that only if I did the work of the first few ayat. If I saw his names and I felt grateful, and then I noticed again and again that it's love. It's out of love. It's happening out of such provision and mercy. Here's another beautiful ayah. 109. Tawbah, same chapter, 109. أفمن أسس بنيانه على تقوى من الله ورضوان خير أم من أسس بنيانه على شفا جرف. I'm not going to continue the rest of it, but is the one who built his foundation or his structure on consciousness of God and good pleasure better, or the one who erects or builds a foundation on the brink of a crumbling bank so that it crumbles down with him into hellfire? So what's the foundation of a believer? Consciousness, taqwa, of who? Allah, which we said was Bismillah, and Ridwan, this pleasure. All right, so I just wanted to make that clear because I was reading the notes, and it's such a beautiful point that it's not like you're out here working hard trying to get paradise. Like, that's what people do. It's such a disconnected way to do. Like, I'm going to get all these good deeds and do my thing so I can get paradise. Okay, so it's basically like, let me get all this money in the bank so that when I show up on that day and they put me on the scale, my deed on the scale, then I just want to have enough good deeds. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, alayhi salatu wassalam, said, not even me goes into paradise with my good deeds. It's a mercy. It's just mercy. So it has nothing to do with your good deeds then. It's all about whether you knew who was the one acting in your life, through your life, and through the life of everything living around you. And then if you're with that presence and you confirm that meeting now, then you, inshallah, will see it manifest without a veil in the next life. It's just a gift. Paradise is a gift. And you taste it here and now whenever we're connected. And thank God, even the taste of hellfire is a mercy and a gift too. Because when something burns, you sure learn how to stay away from it. So when something upsets you, or if you feel disconnected or stressed, like with everything going on, for example, maybe you were looking at the news and watching videos of how people are being murdered in broad daylight. And all of a sudden you find yourself feeling like angry, or okay, all of a sudden you lost your peace, right? So what happens? That means that that feeling came upon me. I owned it. I'm like, I'm angry. How could they do? So there was no Bismillah. There was no in the name of God. And that disconnected state does not feel good. I felt rage. I felt fire for sure. And astaghfirullah. That's why repentance is so important. Astaghfirullah. Because we're not the ones feeling, we're not the ones owning the feeling. We're engineered like this, like a laptop that's perfectly made. It's like when you press this button, it acts like this. So whoever created us in a way that when we see injustice, a button is pushed, and then all of a sudden we're triggered, and then we think like, oh, that's me. No, that wasn't you. You were called, or let's say triggered. But trigger has like a negative connotation, so it's really a call. A call for what? So you can reconnect. Reconnect with what? The name, this quality of this being who's introducing itself to you in yet a new way, so that you can deepen what? Your awe, your knowing of him, which is called worship. Iyaka na'budu. This is where we're at now. Beautiful transition. Iyaka na'budu means you alone do we worship. Worship is such a big word. But this next ayah is the key realization, the climax, the culmination, the pinnacle of the teachings. It's, remember, the Surat El Fatiha, this chapter is the summary of the whole Quran. It's not like, yeah, I got this ayah done, I got it. Only you do we worship. I don't worship statues or anything. That's so simple. It's not like that. This is the life journey. This is the, dare I say, like jihad of life, of purifying constantly who we really are in awe of, and constantly removing shirk out of our lives. Shirk means associating anyone with any power or authority besides the owner. So remember in Surat Yusuf, ayah 106, 12:106, that's Joseph. There's a verse that says, and وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ, and most of them do not believe إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكِينَ or mushrikun. So most of them don't believe without also committing shirk. Shirk means that we're also associating ability to other than God, whether it's the water or the food or a person or authority or whoever. So iyyaka na'budu means you alone. Do we worship? It's an arrival. It's a state that's an arrival. And we hope to arrive at this place where we can really, this is really our state of being. So na'budu is mentioned first because the next part of the verse says, wa iyyaka nasta'in, and you alone do we seek help. Remember, this is the pinnacle of the teachings of the Quran could be summarized into this verse alone. So na'budu is mentioned first. It comes from the word abd. It means that we accept being abd, worshipper, owned by, I'm going to just put all these regular common terminology first, and then we kind of break it down. Worshipper, owned by master and sustainer, which means you're never alone. Every breath, every situation, everything you feel is owned and sustained. We talked about owned with Malik, sustained, Rabb. It means that I'm created to be a receiver only, who's totally needy, totally dependent, like so raw, like a newborn baby. That's really who we are, but somehow in life, like because we're created also with this ego or this sense of I, we think that we need to be tough. Like I need to take care of it. I need to handle my I need to handle my business. And we're taught like we need to step up and fend for ourselves and take care of it. Like it's the total opposite of our reality. Like our reality is that we're so needy and so helpless. So we're so needy. We have constant needs and we're absolutely powerless to take care of those needs. So it's the perfect situation to feel like Dr. Yamina would say, crushed, like you can't do anything. And yet here we are trying to fake it till we make it, acting like we could do stuff. And then the pressure is just too much because it contradicts your reality. You can't, that's why sajda, that's why prostration, that position of prayer is such a feel-good feeling for the believer. It's like, oh, I don't got anything. I don't have nothing at all. I can't do a thing. Subhanallah, like you got me. I can't do. And it's so relieving. It's a relief. Like you can breathe again. It's literally dropping off everything there because you couldn't do it anyway. Why did you pretend that you could hold anything up or take care of anything anyway? So I have to realize again and again and again with every new situation that comes, with every new time I feel vulnerable or needy, powerless or weak, unable, that this is the whole purpose. The whole purpose is for you to remember that you are abd. So get cool with feeling like that. It's going to be the case for the rest of our lives. That's the essence of abd. So instead of feeling shocked when some new distress comes, remember that this is the whole purpose. Calamity will come to remind you or like strip you of your false idea that you had something under control, to make you feel that bare, vulnerable feeling again. And that's, inshallah, we can learn to channel that the right way. How? Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. So the Quran makes it clear that everything that exists is abd. In chapter 19, I think that's Surah Maryam, ayah 93, it says, In kullu man fis samawati wal ard illa atar rahman abda. There is no one, or actually, it's the poor translation, everyone that is in the heavens or the earth comes to Al-Rahman, there's that name of infinite compassion again, as abd. They say servant or worshiper, but we know that it's much deeper than that. So with our free will, we can only choose between options that are already created here. So people be like, yeah, we're the creators. No, everything is already created and you could choose with the existing creation, which path you want to take. But say, for example, I want to choose to drink water instead of juice right now. Then these two options are given to me and I follow the order. I have to reach my hand like this, put my hand like this, and then water comes. So even this whole system is an order that's already in place. So in that way, every creation is following the order to do whatever it is that we choose within existing order. Following the order is also another way to pray. It's like asking for something. So when I say, oh, I want to get up and go over there, and then my body actually gets up, my feet actually start moving, then my body, like, that prayer is answered and my body moves according to the desire that I had. So everyone is subject to the order. So everyone is abd. Everyone is a worshiper of God's order regardless. But then what do we have? We have free will. So you can choose to either acknowledge what you're doing, that you're actually under the order and the command of your creator and do it in his name and then gain paradise as a gift here and now, or think that you're the doer and be totally disconnected. They're funny. So here's the beautiful part of it, right? I am abd, which is totally needy, but to who? Authority, the police, family, work, people, relationships, to no one in this world. The abd is given dignity in that he is abd to the King of Kings alone. And only when we acknowledge this do we find peace and power through our weakness, by bowing and surrendering to the Almighty King of Kings, the owner, the infinite, the beginning, the ultimate. By standing before his court of majesty, bowing to his might, and prostrating to his highness only. So there's two sides of the same coin. One side is abd, utterly weak, utterly needy, utterly humble, utterly vulnerable, but to God alone. And then when you put it like that, the Quran calls the human being who chooses to be conscious, a conscious mirror reflecting the qualities of God, Khalifa, a representative of God, a dignified representative of God, which means you don't bow to nobody else. And that is such a beautiful honor, especially with everything going on right now. And that nobody can take that away from you as long as it's within you. As long as your truest being, so your essence, your heart, your soul, whatever you guys want to call it, is truly aware of the king, of the one it belongs to, then they do whatever they want. They can murder me in the street, but you're untouchable because you belong to the King of Kings. So they can't do anything to you. And that is such an honor. It's such a beautiful way to realize who we really are. The body is going to suffer all types of tumultuous calamity in this world, but we're not our body. That's one of the Quran's fundamental teachings. You are abd. You're this little, like newborns, right? Like they look like little aliens. They're just little bare creatures that are full of needs and unable to take care of any single one of them. That's you, but to who? God alone. And once you make that connection and you clothe yourself, like the Quran would say, in the garment of God consciousness, right? It's not like, yeah, let me go get my fresh, whatever it is that you're trying to buy, name brand. No, like dress yourself in the consciousness of God. And that means dress yourself in the names of God that manifest through you. Like he's the one calling for justice. So if you act in the name of the most just, not in the name of me or you or whoever. So in order to get to this level where we can actually feel what this verse means, I mean, this is like the pinnacle, the highest level, right? So we can only start tasting it slowly in stages if and only if we do the work. What's the homework? Is to constantly question everything and never take anything for granted. Every feeling that you feel, every situation that comes up, reflect on how you feel. Something's getting stirred up inside. Every blessing that you have. Remember the first session we had was about how to read Bismillah and everything. Only by seeing Bismillah and everything will we start to see his names alone through the silhouettes, like these little shadows that are just kind of here for a temporary time, that have only one purpose, only including ourselves, just to, and when I say silhouettes, I mean this physical existence is so clay. It literally disappears in the dirt once you put it in the dirt. It's not who we are. It's just like a means of showing us. They're just characters, like a movie, like just a way to deliver us the meaning. And the meaning is our needs and the names, because they get together and that's how the bond is made firm. Our needs and those names. Chapter 11, Surah 11, Ayah 56. إني توكلت على الله ربي وربكم ما من دابة إلا هو آخذ بناصيتها إن ربي على صراط مستقيم. I have put my trust in God, the creator, the source, my sustainer, my caretaker, my educator, and yours. There is not a single creature that moves, but that he does not hold it by the forelock. I love that language. Like, my Lord is on the straight path. So there is nothing moving around here looking all crazy, acting all crazy, but that God has it by the forelock and it's being done with wisdom and purpose. So this verse says, Iyaka na'budu. It's not that I worship you. Na'budu, it's we. It's you alone we worship. So who is we? Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay. In the text, the words, which is available online, that Dr. Yamina uses as a guidance to our understanding of the Quranic meaning in these verses, Nursi says that there's many wisdoms as to why we is used. So within my own being, as a human being, there's emotions, cells, thoughts, organs, faculties, so like a universe within me. And every aspect of my being, every cell resembles a tiny universe. And at the same time, so that's me as a being that is so multifaceted and so intricate, so filled with many different things. And at the same time, I am with the whole universe outside of me as a huge congregation, or ummah, like this brotherhood and sisterhood, not with only human beings, but with everything that exists. Why? Because all tongues of creation, anything that exists, testify that we are created, we are owned, we didn't make ourselves. The flower says, I didn't make myself like this. I just popped up. I didn't just pop up out of nowhere. I was made by a beautiful one, an engineer, a designer, a creator, a fashioner. Everything that exists testifies that we are made and dependent on the one who put us here. So Iyaka, only you is the journey, right? Because sometimes it's like you and also like my homie next door, or you and also like she's really my best friend, she's always been down for me, or yeah it's you too, but like really like this person had my back so many times, or yeah I know you're doing everything, but I don't know what these cops are doing out here, like. So it's not really only you that we see then, because we still see, and this is, again, it's a journey, it's for all of us to reflect on. Charger in. So when we start tasting what Iyaka feels like, only you, it tastes like freedom. It tastes like liberation. It tastes like love. And we proclaim Iyaka na'budu with dignity. Like when you stand up as we stand in prayer, that standing aspect is a dignified, like you dignified me by being abd, that I only have to humble myself before you and nobody else. There's so much power in that. MashaAllah. So Iyaka points to the fact that, I'm not sure how long we should go. I don't even, 4:40, I don't know. Okay, we'll see. Iyaka points to everything is needy on one being. Everything points to one being. Everything is being sustained by one being. Of course, when we say one, it's not numerical, a unique one, a one in solidarity, infinite, unlike any other. Everything needs this one to exist. And that's why in chapter 112 of the Quran, which is the chapter of sincerity, which teaches us what the most sincere or most pure belief looks like, the names that are introduced to us in that chapter is Ahad, the one, the unique, and Samad. It says, say, come to the conclusion that indeed it is God who is one. Like, there's only one manifesting out here. Allahu Samad. And this one is Samad. Everything depends on it. It depends on no one. In chapter 29, the spider, ayah 17, it says, إِنَّمَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَوْثَانًا وَتَخْلُقُونَ إفكا إن الذين تعبدون من دون الله لا يملكون لكم رزقا فابتغوا عند الله الرزق واعبدوه واشكروا له إليه ترجعون. Those that you worship instead of God are merely idols, names, idols that you are inventing lies about. This is the Creator speaking, right? Indeed, those who you worship beside God have no power to provide you with any sustenance. So seek your sustenance from God and i'bud, turn in ibadah to Him alone and give thanks to Him alone. To Him you are being sent back. So we all forget, and we're all going to find the way that we kind of give people authority and power accidentally, which is why we need this reminder and we need this guidance so much to keep on this journey of tazkiyah, constant purification. Purification meaning rendering false these false claims and then reaffirming the truth more and more and more. So we're not responsible for being aware of everything in every moment, but we are responsible for being in the presence of God here and now. All we have is this moment here and now. And this is the training to constantly remind ourselves. How? Make intention to question everything, and then once you question it, the truth will be revealed. Never take anything for granted. I remember Dr. Yamina saying to put post-its on things that you'll be reminded. Whatever you want to start with, whether it's water or whether it's whatever you feel like is the biggest kind of struggle where you don't see God, you see other people as doers or other things as doers, then put the post-its there. But it's best to start off with small things, so when big things land on us, then that training has already kind of come into place. All right, so I wanted to, she also mentioned this, like baking, cooking. A lot of people be like, yeah, I made this, I cooked this, I did this. And then I get, of course, the credit for having made something. When you have nothing to do with heat, chemistry, the way it comes out of the ground. The same is the case for eating, drinking, breathing, everything. So in life, you're either seeing yourself as the doer, then you'll see other people or things also have power to create, because it's a reflection of your own self-image. Whatever you have inside of you is what is going to be projected on everything else. I'm just going to again link my brother, Allah yarhamu, Mo Muhammad, for those who know him. God rest his soul in eternal paradise and have mercy on him and all the believers. He and I both went through this training, like we've both talked about it in the past. And thank God for that. And thank God that I was already heavy in this training before I had to run down and do CPR on my brother. Because when that moment came, because I was already rooted in this practice of trying to really understand how deep the Quranic teachings are, some presence came down on me and reminded me that he's no longer here. He sort of took off the body like an old pair of clothing and he's left. And he's now in a new dimension. Why do I say that? Because death is the greatest reminder of this reality of the world. That's why the last verse said, you're all returning to him. So get it together before you meet him. Chapter Waqiyah, ayah 56. Inshallah, if anybody benefits anything, please say a prayer for him. Ayah 56, Surah 56. I'm just going to read these beautiful verses together, and then inshallah we'll end. And then we'll continue with this deep verse next week. But look at how the Creator creates us, puts us in this chaotic place, creates turmoil everywhere, then gives you so many blessings everywhere at the same time. And then is like, okay, here's my speech. I'm going to tell you what I think will help you. So listen carefully. 56:68. أفرأيتم الماء الذي تشربون? Did you look at the water that you guys drink? No, I wasn't really looking at it. I was just drinking it. I was just buying, that essential water because its alkaline is high. Like, what was I supposed to see? Okay, all right. So hold up. Now he's asking me to look at water. أأنتم أنزلتموها من I gotta pull it up. Hold on a second, because this is. Here it is. 56:68. The Arabic is so much more beautiful. أأنتم أنزلتموها من المزن أم نحن المنزلون? Is it you who brought it down from the clouds? Because you acting like you just got it. Like you acting a certain way that you need this reminder. Is it you who sent it down from the clouds? Or is it we who brought it down? 70. لو نشاء جعلناه أجاجا فلولا تشركون فلولا تشكرون. I'm sorry. If we had so pleased, we could have made it bitter. So why would you not give thanks? Well, surely don't come out salty. That's true. And why don't we give thanks? Oh, because I thought I got it from the corner store. Like, I didn't really realize that, like, you had to organize clouds and actually do this whole thing just to give me water. And water is our most essential need next to breathing, right? First it's breathing, then it's water. So those two are key in our training of consciousness because those are the things that we need the most. So why would you not give thanks? The Quran says, أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ النَّارَ الَّتِي تُورُونَ? Did you consider, or did you look at the fire which you kindle? You know, the fire that you need to cook hot meals every day, to warm things up, to boil some water, make some tea or coffee. Did you look at it? Actually, I made coffee so much after Ramadan, I don't think I actually looked at the fire at all. أَأَنْتُمْ أَنْشَأْتُمْ شَجَرَتَهَا أَمْ نَحْنُ الْمُنْشِئُونَ? Did you make its tree grow, or was it he who made it grow? Okay, well, I surely didn't do anything, right? So what is this pointing to? Don't you see the one who's actually doing everything around you and giving it to you as a gift, and you're not even thankful? Here's the last ayah. This is verse 73. نحن جعلناها تذكرة ومتاعا للمقوين. We made it a reminder. A way of remembering, ومتاع, and a provision, enjoyment for the needy, or those who are lost and needy. Oh, okay. I understand now. So we need to really get it together and do some homework and understand. Oh, the last ayah, 74 says, the conclusion after this journey, فَسَبِّحْ بِاسْمِ رَبِّكَ الْعَظِيمِ. So glorify the name of your sustainer who's taking care of you, who is Azim, tremendous, great, might. So, brothers and sisters, this is the recipe for confirming Rububiyyah, who we're really dealing with here, nurturing this deep awareness of His presence, charging this consciousness of the only doer through us and everything around us, so we can come to a state of Iyyaka na'budu. It's you alone that we worship. I'm not going to get into Iyyaka nasta'in, the you alone that do we seek help. We can get into that part of it next week. But if anybody has any comments or questions, I would love to hear them. Please type them in the screen. Otherwise, I believe we will end it here with Iyyaka na'budu, remembering that with any distress, you can be in distress in any situation, but the minute you remember Iyyaka na'budu, it's relief and it's peace. That anything that comes up is just a tadhkira, a means of remembering the real doer. Ameen to your beautiful prayers, Ziva. Astaghfirullah al-azim, astaghfirullah al-azim, astaghfirullah al-azim. الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه سبحانه لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. God, forgive us all for our shortcomings. Forgive us all for our shortcomings. Forgive us all for our endless shortcomings. There's no knowledge that we have unless you teach us. Indeed, you are the all-knowing. Indeed, you are the most wise. Ameen. Ameen. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Thank you guys. If you guys have any questions, type them out, or else I'm just going to end the stream, inshallah. Or comments. Yes, Ziba. The journey, Ziba writes, the journey to Iyyaka is the strive. That's exactly right. Becoming comfortable with Na'budu, that we are always in the state of Na'budu, and then journeying to you alone. And it's funny that in this ayah, it's Iyyaka wa Iyyaka. You alone and you alone. So much relief that we don't have to deal with anybody else in this world, and it's actually only Him. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah help us all live with these gems. May we build on the last sessions and keep up with the homework. Ameen. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum.